Hey, it's Bill from the Bill Simmons podcast. FIFA World Cup 26 fans, listen up. As the official beer sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 26, Michelob Ultra is giving away $1 million worth of FIFA World Cup 26 tickets and prizes. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/superior access/FIFA World Cup 26. Michelob Ultra FIFA World Cup 26 superior access. No purchase necessary. Open U.S. residents 21 plus begins on December 1st, 2025. Ends on July 31st, 2026. Multiple entry periods. Visit www.MichelobUltra.com/superior access/FIFA World Cup 26 for free entry deadlines, prizes, and details.
Here's your report.
Oh, thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire someone just like you.
Try LinkedIn Hiring Pro. It's more than a job board. It's like the recruiter you always wished you had. Hiring Pro uses real-time insights to match your role to LinkedIn's unique network of professionals and delivers a shortlist of best fit candidates. You'll spend less time sorting applicants and more time talking to the right people.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Teams that you could find layers of consistency, while at the same time teams that found a different way to attack the opponent from week to week. Those are the teams that were the hardest for me to game plan, the teams that were often the hardest for us to defend.
One of the biggest decisions every offensive coordinator has to make is how to teach the passing game. Do you build your offense around half-field concepts that simplify the quarterback's read, or do you invest in full-field progression concepts that give you answers against more coverages? In this preview from the Passing Lab Clinic, Pete DeWeese, offensive coordinator at Cambridge High School in Georgia, explains why he believes the answer isn't choosing one or the other. Instead, he shares how combining split field concepts with scan tags creates a passing game that's both simple to teach and adaptable when the defense changes the picture.
Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
Here's Coach Pete DeWeese.
As I mentioned in my introduction, my name is Pete DeWeese. I'm the offensive coordinator at Cambridge High School in Milton, Georgia. In this session, I'm going to talk about using half-field concepts and tags to create full-field reads. I know a lot of coaches, especially at the high school level, struggle with how they build their passing game. There are some people that really put a lot of time and effort into full field progression and full field read concepts. And there's a lot of people who like to work a lot of split field, even some that still remain in the world of mirrored routes. So I want to talk about how I've been able to build things in my career, how we do some of the things we do here at Cambridge to build an effective and efficient passing game. When you talk about read types and you break down passing game, there's a lot of different terminology and a lot of different ways that people can kind of look at it. Kind of through the scope of my 20-some years coaching football, I hear a lot of people talking about gift reads, quick game things in the RPO world. Maybe it's the uncovered hitch or the easy slant route that you might throw versus soft coverage. Most common, I think you hear a lot of people talk about split field reads, whether it's some type of a high-low read, some type of a curl flat read, or something that was able to kind of train and focus the quarterback's eyes on one portion of the field. And then, as you get more into football and you start looking at the high levels of football, whether it's the NFL, college, or even really productive high school passing offenses, I think you start to see a lot more progression or scan reads. Everybody in the coaching profession kind of has their reasons and their whys for doing this, a lot of things. And as I talk to a lot of coaches, and I talk to coaches that run a lot of split field concepts, right? They talk about the positives, the good of the split field concept. They believe that it narrows the quarterback's vision, that it allows them to take a young, maybe inexperienced quarterback and really tunnel his eyes and make sure that they're where you want them to be in the read game. Those coaches believe that the half-field concepts are easy to teach and easy to rep. They believe that, they do a good job of attacking static coverages, that when you can really get your quarterback to isolate a specific defender or a specific movement pattern that they can attack those things in rhythm and find the open receiver. And they also believe that using split field concepts allow them to find the matchups, right? Whether that is based on coverage or based on personnel, they might put a cover 3 beater to one side of the field and a cover 2 or some type of man beater on the opposite side of the field, and just ask the quarterback to determine pre-snap what he thinks he's going to see out of the defense, right? When you talk to coaches that talk about the downside or the bad of split field concepts, you start to think about, not only can you funnel a quarterback's vision, but sometimes a quarterback can get tunnel vision. They might lock in too much. And in particular, when the defense has the ability to trap you, or when the picture changes defensively, the quarterback might be so locked in, they might freeze, which when some of the argument is that these half-field reads can speed up and keep a quarterback in rhythm, there's a lot of coaches that believe that focusing on these split field coverages can slow a quarterback down, particularly when the picture changes or when the reaction from the defense isn't what he anticipated. A lot of coaches, including myself, also believe that sticking strictly to split field can reduce versatility. Yeah, you can be multiple, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're versatile. You have to be right as a play caller. If you put a cover 2 concept on one side, the man beater on the other side, and they come out and give you a different type of coverage, whether it's a cover 3, you might find yourself in a situation where the quarterback might not put himself to the appropriate side, or might not put himself with his eyes in the appropriate funnel, and can obviously slow down the process and really lead to a negative play on offense. The other thing that I've found, especially early in my career, was when you were operating with a lot of split field concepts, calling 2-man game or 3-man game to one side of the field, is sometimes the menu becomes too big and you try to do too much. You feel like, oh, this is easy, we can just call this, but maybe you haven't put the time into it. You haven't put, the reps into it that your players really need to be successful. Now, when you talk to coaches that believe in full field concepts and put a lot of the stock in those full field concepts, they'll tell you their argument is that universal concepts are very versatile, that a well-built full field progression read is going to be able to attack multiple coverages, and it's going to give you answers versus most things that a defense can do. They're going to tell you that good design also equals a natural progression. That when you're teaching things in a sequential way, and the design of the concept allows that natural progression for the quarterback, that it's easy to teach a quarterback how to get through the concepts and do it in rhythm and on time. Coaches, I think, also believe that full field concepts provide a lot of rep efficiency because they're versatile concepts, because the design can attack multiple coverages. You can really hone in on certain concepts, rep and rep and rep those concepts, and hopefully give your players a lot of confidence in those concepts and giving you a lot of efficiency. Now, the counter argument to that is, well, Coach, we don't think we can protect that. We're going to throw quick game all the time, or we're going to throw smash to one side, and we're going to throw slant flat to the other side and let the quarterback pick so we can get the ball out of our hand. We don't think we can protect the play. The other counter argument would be the processing complexity. Well, look, I got a kid that, he's just not there yet mentally. He doesn't understand the game yet. He doesn't have enough reps under his belt. And I think that while those things can be valid, I think that when you look at the argument for full field progression reads, that if you're doing it properly and if you're teaching it properly, that the counter argument will kind of take care of itself. So my personal belief is do both. Here at Cambridge, we certainly carry split field concepts. We have the ability to give the quarterback authority to pick a side based on the coverage that he sees. And we certainly will use that at times as part of what we do, especially in our quick game packages. But I really believe that the best way for us to be versatile and multiple and attack defenses while giving our quarterback the power and the confidence to keep our offense moving and stay in sync is to do both. We believe that you can keep your staple split field reads, but you can use scan tags to create full field concepts. And that's going to allow you to both be simple and attack things on the front side of your concept while giving the quarterback now answers that are versatile and will allow him to progress through the defense and through the concept while keeping the offense moving and keeping you out of negative plays, right? So, for us, we use a split field tag with the scan tag. It's about attacking coverages, giving the quarterback answers, and then gives both spatial and read consistency. Okay, so let's talk a little bit today about how at Cambridge we choose to do that. Okay, we define a scan tag as any backside tag that brings routes into the vision of the quarterback. Okay, we're not going to run 10 pure progression concepts. We're not going to run 10 scan tags. We might carry 5 or 6 throughout the course of a season, and we might from game to game only carry 2 or 3 based on what we think we need, based on what we see out of the defense, what our skill guys do well, what our quarterback handles well, and what we think we can protect. So our menu is constantly adjusting, but we build consistency in these backside scan tags where the quarterback can get very comfortable with coming out of his primary read into these scan tags and knowing the space and the routes that are going to be occupied and how he's supposed to move through them, both with his feet and his eyes, as we try as much as we can to tie those things together. We also believe that it gives the quarterbacks answers when the defensive picture changes, right? If we're playing static defenses and the coverage isn't changing very much and how they line up is what they're going to play, then it's easy for us to call split field coverages. But as we start seeing teams that are multiple in what they do, that change pre-snap or change post-snap and start to paint a different picture and really become a little bit less predictable in how they're going to defend you, then we think that using these scan tags gives us the best opportunity to give our kids a chance to be successful. I'm a guy that has spent time in my career coordinating both sides of the football. And as a defensive coordinator, teams that could be both multiple but stay within the roots of their system were the teams that I felt like I had the most difficulty preparing for, right? There were some teams that did way too much and they weren't efficient. And it was about, okay, at the end of the day, what do they really do well? Let's defend those things and let's force them to beat us with something that they might do, but they're just not great at, right? But teams that you could find layers of consistency while at the same time teams that found a different way to attack the opponent from week to week, those are the teams that were the hardest for me to game plan, the teams that were often the hardest for us to defend. So as I transitioned back to offense from the defensive side of the ball, part of my mission as a coordinator and a play caller was to create a system that allowed me to attack defenses that same way. I spend a lot of time studying coaches, studying how teams teach things. When I go to clinics, when I study teams, it's not what they're doing. It's what they're doing is not what is important to me in learning football. What's important to me is not what they're doing. It's how are they teaching it? How are they repping it? Because ultimately the success, I believe, in this game comes down to not what you do, but how you do it, how you teach it, how you rep it, and then obviously the players that you have executing it. So I try to spend a lot of time, whether I'm looking at, studying Bobby Petrino's offense, or I'm looking at a Lane Kiffin offense, or I'm looking into Dub Maddox and the R4 system, or Dan Gonzalez and Josh Herring, and all of these guys that have this great knowledge and do a lot of great things in the passing game. It's how are they teaching it? Does that work for us? And do I think that's the best foundation to give my kids? And so the things that we're going to talk about today and the way that we teach our quarterbacks and build our system are rooted in the things that both myself as well as our head coach, Tyler Jones, who is an excellent offensive mind and play caller, how we have built this system, taking all of those things that we've learned from other people, from our own experiences, and building this kind of progression for teaching, and then specifically teaching the way that we use these scan reads to give us a lot of versatility and a lot of options inside of our offense. So for us, everything starts in the meeting room, right? First as a staff, looking at film together, looking at studies together, talking about how things are being taught, how things are being run by these people that we've been studying, and then discussing whether or not we believe It is a way to make us more efficient and or more explosive. And then from there, it transitions into meeting with our players. And I truly believe that meeting with your quarterbacks is so vital. And I do think that, a lot of people get into and they spend a ton of time in quarterback school. We do quarterback school here, but honestly, we probably don't spend as much time doing it as some other people, because for us, it's about being efficiency, about being efficient in the way that we teach, in the way that we rep, in the way that we practice. And we want that to all translate to the field. So when we start talking about our tag game with our scam reads, the simple question we start with was our quarterbacks is, do we have the math or the matchup for the primary concept? Whether we're in 2x2 or 3x1, and whether we give him the primary tag to his right or left, doesn't matter. His first question is, do I have the math or do I have the matchup? Right? And it doesn't matter if we give him a smash concept or a sell concept or a fade out concept. It doesn't matter. Do I have the math or do I have the matchup? If the answer is yes, then I'm going to take the snap. I'm going to confirm that the defense is still giving me the math or still giving me the matchup, and I'm going to deal the football. If the math changes or if the math is against me from the beginning, and that answer is no, then I'm going to, again, confirm that it doesn't change in my favor, and then I'm going to use that to accelerate to my backside scan tag.
That was Pete DeWeese, one of the outstanding high school offensive coaches you'll hear from inside the Passing Lab Clinic. Pete's complete presentation goes far beyond this discussion, showing exactly how Cambridge High School uses half-field concepts and scan tags to build efficient full-field reads that give quarterbacks answers against changing defensive looks. You'll also hear from Josh Herring, Drew Ambrose, Herbert Davis, and Brady Wallace through 15 on-demand sessions covering passing game design, levels, 3-level passing families, option routes, stacks, tempo, and much more. The Passing Lab begins July 8th for our interactive sessions. Get immediate access to every on-demand session, then join us live July 8th and 9th for interactive discussions. You can register today for $39 with 60-day access or upgrade to lifetime access for $79. We'll see you inside the Passing Lab.